results are in. North Dakota school test scores are dropping, and quickly.
The Department of Public Instruction has released the first data showing the actual impact the COVID disruption had on students. Jacob Noterman has the results and what's being done about the problem.
Leaders in education said the effects from COVID will be historic and be studied for years to come. But what's also historic is the decline in test scores based on the yearly state assessment.
People's lives have been disrupted, and there's chaos in our world right now. And when there's chaos, learning isn't as easily accomplished.
DPI's results put students in one of four categories based on their results. The share of students who ranked in the lowest tier in English grew from 26% to 31%. And for math, it was 24% to 28% of the student body. Proficiency overall dropped by 5% in English and 7% in math, meaning 1 out of every 20 North Dakota students is no longer proficient in these topics.
Because of COVID, we had virtual. Because of COVID, we had kids not coming to school. I mean, I kind of clumped it all together, but it's obviously very, very closely related that all of these things tied together, and it's because of COVID that we had this big of a drop.
However, State Superintendent Kirsten Basler said critics shouldn't point their fingers at distance learning.
There's a lot of training, there's a lot of practice, there's a lot of preparation that needs to go into that in order to do it well, setting up curriculum. So I'm not so sure it should be an indictment on virtual learning, but possibly an indictment in the way that we were so quickly and abruptly forced to shift to a virtual environment.
Moving forward, the pandemic will be considered a timeline base when studying education and treat the effects similarly to that of a natural disaster. In Bismarck, I'm Jacob Noterman, reporting for your news leader.
While the effects are unprecedented, Basler says the recovery will also be unprecedented. Many schools have already used a significant portion of federal COVID dollars to bring on additional staff.
North Dakota schools have nearly $400 million left to spend from a federal COVID relief fund. Similarly to other COVID money, schools don't know what the rules are for spending it, so they're holding back plans, but deadlines are looming. The Department of Public Instruction has received more than $428 million from Washington, D.C. through COVID relief. Now, the money was given in 3 tranches over the past 2 years, and each of these portions have different spending deadlines. And the rules keep changing even after it's already been spent. Jacob Noterman has more on plans for the money and what it could mean for schools.
Of the $428 million given to North Dakota schools, less than $32 million of it has actually been requested. That means more than 92% of it remains. Part of the reason the amount is still so large is that the money can only be used for reimbursements. So schools need to have receipts before that money can go out. And that's causing some problems.
Some of the rules and guidance that originally was communicated to states, and then states conversely subsequently communicated to our local school districts, have changed. We're doing our best to communicate those with our school districts.
If the schools use the special COVID funds to pay for staff or other normal ticket items, this opens up the school's normal budget for other non-COVID items. And since this wiggle room would come out of the school's normal budget, they can spend it on whatever they want.
I have very strong personal opinions about some of the choices that have been made. Paying for ice for hockey rinks to me is not a priority at a time like this.
According to DPI, big ticket items include buying curriculum and funding summer school, but the largest amount of the second tranche is expected to be used on hiring staff.
Whether it be contract or, additional FTEs, whatever that might be, we are in triage at this point.
Basler added she has been in coordination with the schools over the requests and has been giving guidance on the spending. In Bismarck, I'm Jacob Noterman, reporting for your news leader.
The Department of Public Instruction is holding the funds and accounts for the schools, but they can't deny a school's use of the money. Ultimately, it's the federal government and auditors who will decide what spending was appropriate and how much should be returned.